is Daf Chaf. We were on let's start again in Yud Testament Beis. The Mishnah is teaching, the Mishnah taught us about Shechita, and it contrasted Shechita with Malika. So whatever is kosher for Shechita, namely the front of the neck, that's what wouldn't work for Malika. If a Kohen came with a thumb to the front of the neck, that's not a good Malika. Malika of the neck is also no good, because that would for Shechita that would be no good, because then you slaughter first. You sever the spinal cord and then the pipes, so it becomes a treifa first before the pipes get severed. So let's start here. Yud Testament Beis, 4 lines from the bottom. Amri b'nei Rabbi Chia, the children of Rabbi Chia said like this: Mitzvahs Malika, the mitzvah of Malika, or the ideal of Malika, is Machzir Simanim La'achorei Ha'oref. He pushes the pipes, the safik, and then he uses his sharpened thumbnail to sever them.
Only Kohen could do it, not the Shochet, Rabbi?
No, only Kohen.
Only Kohen.
And only on an Olat Ta'of or a Chata Sa'of. So Ikad Armi, so one version of what the children of Rabbi Chia was saying was Af Machzir. Typical Malika is without pushing the 2 pipes to the back. The typical Malika is just come with the thumb, go through the skin, go through the spinal cord, and go through the pipes. And also, if you move the pipes to the back, so that it's first the thumb to the skin and then through the pipes, and then the spinal cord also works. Ikadami, but another version of what they said was Machzir Dafka. Albert makes sense, Command Dharma, like the one who said Af Machzir. What they were saying was Malika would also work if you push the pipes to the back and you hit the pipes first. Mimai, how do we know this? Because it said in our Mishnah, if somebody slaughters from the nape of the neck, Shechita so psula, the Shechita is no good. If somebody, a Kohen, severs with his thumb from the nape of the neck, his Malika is good. If you're going to think to say, first push the pipes to the back there by the nape and then sever them, and then one might hit, maybe one doesn't hit, the spine. So then my Iriya Molix, and why is there an emphasis that Malika is kosher this way, but Shechita not? Afilu shochet nami. Even using a knife and severing the 2 pipes would also be good. Because the essence of Shechita is to use a knife to sever the pipes first. That's what's happening here. The pipes were pushed to the back. They're behind Elalav. So what do you have to say? Shmamina, what do you see from our Mishnah? What did the Bnei Rabbi Chia mean? What did the children of Rabbi Chia mean? Af Machzir. The children of Rabbi Chia meant to say that another way to do Malika is to push the pipes to the back and then hit them first with your thumb. But Umasnisan, the Mishnah was not talking about that other way. Masnisan is below Hadr. The Mishnah was talking about a case where he didn't push the pipes to the back. The Mishnah was talking about a case where he came with the thumb, went through the back of the neck, and got to the spinal cord, severed the spinal cord, and then he got to the pipes. He didn't push the pipes to the back. But had he pushed the pipes to the back and hit the pipes first, it would have worked. But the Mishnah's not talking about that. The Mishnah's talking about where he didn't push the pipes to the back, he came with the thumb, went to the back of the neck, hit the spinal cord, severed the spinal cord, and then severs the pipes. So if he hits the spinal cord and then he severs the pipes, so then he made it a treifa first before he severed the pipes. Since he made it a treifa first, therefore it wouldn't be a kosher shechita. Harovin Eschuvasan. These young people, the Bnei Rabbi Chia, should get their answer. In other words, they should get a disproof of their opinion. What are the children of Rabbi Chia saying? Either this is the way to do Malika, or this is another good way to do Malika. But certainly they're saying that if the Kohen, before he actually severs the head of the bird, fingers around and he finds the pipes and he moves, let them get this answer, because it says in our Mishnah, Nimsa, what emerges Is kosher b'shchita, pasul b'malika. Whatever was kosher for shchita is pasul if it's done for malika. Whatever is kosher in malika is pasul for shchita. So now what's that to include? Just to tell me that a shchita is from the front and malika is from the back. You already said that explicitly in the beginning. So what law is the Mishnah coming to exclude and say, listen, this is not going to work in malika? Presumably the point of the Mishnah is against the children of Rabbi Chia. Children of Rabbi Chia say that a malika in which the pipes were shifted to the back of the neck and then severed works first, and then spine, that would work for shchita, even if the pipes are at the back. That doesn't work for malika. So the Gemara says it's not necessarily a disproof of the children of Rabbi Chia. Amar Rabbi Bar Chana. Now we're going to go through a couple of laws of shchita. Rabbi Bar Chana said, "Lo, maybe not. Maybe its point is saying that a fingernail, a tooth, wouldn't work. It doesn't work for shchita, but it's not telling you that what works for shchita, namely pipes first and then spine, wouldn't work for malika. Maybe that would work for malika too.
On a bird, you do your fingernail.
Right, that's malika. That's what we're discussing. That's right, malika.
But shchita, you can't do it.
Shchita, right, cannot be with a fingernail. So 1 second, I don't need a Mishnah to tell me with this line that shein v'tziporen, that a fingernail wouldn't work for shchita, because shein v'tziporen behedju katani luhu. Because we have an explicit Mishnah that says you can't use a tooth, you can't use a fingernail for shchita. Elam Rabbi Yirmiyah is not to say that if pipes are moved to the back of the neck, malika wouldn't work on them. The point of the line is to say that in shchita, the knife goes back and forth. You take the knife, you go to the right, and then you go back to the left. That's the way you do shchita. You slit it two ways. But that's not the way to do malika. Malika is drasa. Take the thumb, and the thumb stabs through. It goes in a straight vertical motion. It's not a horizontal motion. That's the point. The Mishnah is saying what works for malika wouldn't work for shchita. What works for shchita wouldn't work for malika. For shchita, you could have a horizontal motion. You're supposed to have a horizontal motion. For malika, you're not. So 1 second, Anicha, that only works. According to the opinion, we're about to see it. Malika pasul. That when the Kohen's using his thumb to sever the head of the bird, he can't go back and forth. He needs to stab right through. According to the opinion that even in malika, Molech Levi is kosher, so then Ma'ikal Amemar. So what's the point of this Mishnah? Must be it's to disprove the Bnei Reb Chia. So Gemara says no. Bnei Reb Chia will tell you. The children of Reb Chia will tell you. They hold Kamadar Molech Levi B'Malika Pasul. That to go back and forth in malika. In other words, Shchita is Molech Levi, takes it forward and back. In malika, though, Molech Levi wouldn't work. You'd have to stab right through for the malika to be a kosher malika. But the Mishnah is not telling you anything about pipes in the back versus pipes in the front. And that's what Bnei Reb Chia were telling you. Either that if he pushes the pipes in the back and then he severs them with his thumb, it works. Even that works. Or to tell you that that's b'dafka the way it works. But that certainly works according to Bnei Reb Chia. Okay, now another discussion about malika. Rav Kahana told in like this. He cuts in with the thumb to cut the spine, the spinal cord, and then gets to the esophagus, and then he gets to the trachea. The Zoe mitzvah, that's the mitzvah. Sav Rav Avin thought that what Rav Kahana meant to say by saying Zoe mitzvah, this is its mitzvah, to cut and go down, to cut and descend, to stab right through, but to go back and forth doesn't work. Rabbi Yirmiyah said to him, no, kol shekain. Well, the more so. If you're going to say that it works by cutting through and going straight through, certainly it works going back and forth, because if it's closer to shchita, certainly it would work. Well, my zohi mitzvah. So what did Rav Kahana mean? This is its mitzvah. What he meant was af zohi mitzvah. Even this way fulfills the mitzvah. Even using the nail and going straight through works. But certainly using the nail to cut side by side, from side to side, would work in Malika as well. So we have here machlokas. According to Rab Avin, Rav Kahana was saying that Malika is not molech umevi, it's not back and forth, it's only kotzit v'yored, it's only descending and cutting while cutting through. And according to Rabbi Yirmiyah, Malika it's certainly kotzit v'yored, but it's also molech umevi. You could have a kosher Malika by cutting and descending down, and you could even have a kosher Malika by cutting back and forth. Yeah, question.
Do we have all of the same laws of animal chullin by animal kachim? Like you have to do cut it with the 5 sensitivities?
Yes,
Same
shchita,
idea.
yeah, absolutely. That's a kosher
So
shchita.
Rabbi,
No, what I'm saying, so for kachim you would need the same.
Yeah, shchita of a kachim animal the same way it makes the chulin into a, we'll see whether nevel or treifa, we'll see, but yeah, same way it ruins chulin.
now Malika could do the pipe, the food pipe in the back with a nail, and do the air
Trachea.
pipe with a knife.
No, with the
Another nail, right?
No, the same nail. It keeps going through.
It goes to boom. Wow, he has to wear
It's very strong.
Is there any requirement that you have to draw blood
And-
or sever the neck,
Yeah.
or just press it through and essentially
we're
you
gonna-
break everything and stop?
everything.
You don't have to have it severed.
Well, there's a difference between the
Drawing
ola
blood
and the chatas.
Do you have to actually draw blood?
There's no explicit halacha about blood. No, the halacha is about the majority of the pipes. But the way of the
So
anatomy
crush-
is that the
crush
blood
them.
is there. You can get through there.
But you don't have to you don't have to chop. The head doesn't have to fall off.
No,
No.
It could just be crushed.
it's not crushed.
That's
It's
crushed.
a thumbnail.
No.
The thumbnail severing the pipes.
So it's open. It's
Yeah.
cut.
It's cut through. Yeah.
But the knife goes from right to left, but nail it goes in and out. Am I right, Rabbi?
Well, that's the machloket, right? That's the two and forth with the thumbnail would also work.
According
Because I mean, there are other ways of killing a bird, like in hunting. Some
shoot it,
people
right?
they will just pull the neck or compress the lungs.
Yeah, but those are not. That's not kosher.
Right.
No, those are not kosher. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah, Amar Shmuel. Rabbi Yirmiyah said the name of Shmuel. Ala kosher b'shchita, the whole area that's kosher for shchita in the front of the neck, kinegdo ba'oref, opposite that area, on the nape of the neck, is kosher b'malika. Whatever is kosher in the front for shchita, opposite it, in the nape is what's kosher for malika. So the Gemara says, well, that's obvious, that's the Mishnah, so what must it be teaching us? Ha-pasel b'shchita, those areas that are no good for shchita, pasel b'malika. So those areas wouldn't work on the other side for malika. So lamute mai, so what areas that coming to teach us doesn't work for malika? Ilem lamute ikar simanim, if the point of Shmuel is to say that just like in shchita, if you uproot one of the pipes, right? If one of the pipes were uprooted before this is uprooted, the malika would be no good. Tani Rami Bar Yecheskel, Rami Bar Yecheskel taught any kursiman ba'of that there is no halacha of a pipe being uprooted in a bird, and if a pipe is uprooted before the end of the shchita, it's still a kosher shchita, so therefore it certainly should be good for malika too. So Rav Papa explained that Shmuel's point was lamute rosha. He's saying the same way you can't slaughter the head, you can't do malika on the head. Rosho pshita, that's obvious. The first says mala, so that means below berosho. Certainly not that the thumb is going into the head. So Gemara explains, my rosho. What did Rav Papa mean when he said to uproot the head? Shipui rosho. He meant the slope of the head. Kagon denakat mi shipui rosho. Let's say he began with his thumbnail in the part where the skull is sloping down, the higrim, but then he moved the thumb to the wrong spot, where he went down, for Azal, and he continued going down at Damati Tatoy until he got to the area beneath. In other words, until he got to the right spot. He started in the that it is no good. Because why? Shmuel holds Kid Rav Huna Rav Asi, like we learned yesterday, the view of Rav Huna in the name of Rav Asi. Dam Rav Huna Rav Asi. Rav Huna says the name of Rav Asi. Higrim Shlish. If he starts off in the wrong spot with the knife instead of being, let's say, down in the Tabas Agdola, according to the Rabban Rabbi Yehuda, that's in the Kova, or instead of the knife being in the Kova, it's even higher, it's up in the cheek, and then he does the third cutting too high. And then Shachat Shneishish, then he brings the knife down, he slaughters. Shmuel's point is the same is true with Malika. That if the Malika started a third too high in the back of the head, and then he went down for the last 2/3 to be in the right spot, it would be puzzle because he holds that since the majority is bipsul, the majority is in the wrong spot. I'm sorry, since it began in the wrong spot, it is puzzle even though the majority was in the right spot. So the same thing is true with Malika. Since it began in the wrong spot, it would be puzzle. That's the point of Shmuel.
Story of, Melika started what? They run out of knife?
Kohanim have to be tough people. They have to be strong.
They don't do Melika nowadays.
You can't. If you do it now, it would be a treifa. It only works in the Beis HaMikdash, on the Mizbeach. Amalei Rav Acha, Breda Rav Ashi, Rav Acha, the son of Rav, said to Rav Ashi, how did Tani Rabbi Bar Yecheskel? This is Rabbi Bar Yecheskel taught about birds. Ain ikor simanim ba'of, that the law that a pipe, namely the trachea, the esophagus, can't be uprooted before the end of the shechita. And if it's uprooted before the end of the shechita is no good. That doesn't apply to birds, to fowl. Lo Amar, we didn't say that. Only according to the opinion that the whole concept of shechita of birds is a din d'Rabbanan. So according to the opinion that midoraisa, since the Torah, when it talks about this lavachta, talking about animals, so midoraisa, there's no law of shechita on birds. So the whole idea of shechita on birds is a din d'Rabbanan. So when the Rabbanan created their law, they didn't create it totally patterned on the doraisa. So they said an uprooted pipe would ruin the shechita of an animal, but an uprooted pipe doesn't ruin the shechita of a bird. Okay, that's only according to them. According to the opinion that shechita lof min Torah, that shechita of birds is a din d'oraisa. Even pasuk, it's out for the completion of the shechita. The shechita is no good. Amar le, so Rav Ashi back to Rav Acha. The opposite. If the opposite makes more sense. According to the opinion that there is shechita to a bird min Torah, so maybe if it's halacha l'Moshe Misina, you could say that's the way Hashem gave it over. This is different. It's not a pasuk, so it's not like the shechita of an animal. Shechita of an animal means that you need to slit the two pipes. You can't have uprooted one of the pipes, sever the pipes, and they could have been uprooted before they were severed. Even according to the opinion who says that the law of shechita of a bird is not halacha l'Moshe Sinai, it's kebehema, it's learned from a pasuk. Still, maybe the halacha l'Moshe Sinai is saying that in regards to the law of ikor, the shechita of birds is not like the animal. But according to the opinion, shechita lof min Torah l'medivrei sofrim. But if you're going to say that shechita of a bird is a din d'Rabbanan, it's not biblical. Where are the rabbis getting it from? They're getting it from behema. They're getting it from an animal. They're saying it. So then, if you're learning it from the animals, kulam milsa kebehema, then certainly all of the law should be like an animal. And if in the animal there's a law of ikor, that if a pipe is uprooted before the pipes are fully severed, the animal's a treifa, the same should be true with a bird. Says the Gemara, Ravina said, Amli Ravin Bar Kisi told me, how did tell you Ravin Bar Yecheskel? This Ravin Bar Yecheskel was machadish. Ain ikor simanim ba'ov, there's no law disqualifying a bird, that the pipes were dislodged before they were without malika. That makes sense, because in malika, you clearly don't have the law of drasa, right? Because you're going straight through. Malika doesn't have the law of chalada, that you can't have the knife covered, because again, you're going straight through, the fingernails being covered by stuff. Aval b'shchita, but in shchita of a bird, the same way there's a law in the shchita of a bird, you can't have chalada and you can't have drasa, you have to go molech umevi. So salach yesh ikor, that if the pipes were dislodged, it's a treif and it's no good. That's what Ravina said. Asks the Gemara, 1 second. Rabbi Yirmiyah said in the name of Shmuel, Kala kasher b'shchita. That's what we said before. All the things that are kasher in shchita, kinegdo ba'orev kasher b'malika. Opposite it in the back of the animal, back of the bird head is what's kasher for in the name. Sounds like you don't make a distinction and say, well, ikur is good for shchita, but it's no good for malika. It's okay. So Rabbi Yirmiyah is against Ravina. Hahu plika. Fine. So fine. So that lesson of Rabbi Yirmiyah is against what this point of Ravina in the name of Ravin Bar Kisi. Fine. He disagrees. But I think this way. I think there is a difference between malika and shchita. Rabbi Yirmiyah thought not. Rabbi Yirmiyah thought that whatever, if it's no good for shchita, it would be no good for malika. I think.
So the chances of screwing up in malika is a lot greater than shechita.
Why? I think the opposite.
No? Yeah?
The opposite. We don't have terasa. Jay, I think the earliest time for Talis Tefillin is 6:19. So we have a couple of minutes. No, I think malika, it's harder to get it done wrong. It's a harder thing to do, right?
But that's
a
why
strong thumbnail.
That's why
the
chances of a screw up is a lot greater.
Okay, it's got to be a strong man.
Yeah.
Ananim have to be strong. They need to be working out in the gym.
Still with the other one.
Nice.
I mean, just watch it. I mean, it's also, it just works that way.
Yeah.
With the Behema, if one is done, you can do shchita with just one. Doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah. Amar Zeiri. Zeiri now said another law about malika and shchita. Nishbara mafrekas. Let's say the bone of the neck, namely the spinal cord, breaks in a bird. Virov basar ima, together with most of the meat that's with it. And it is an avera, even though the bird is still moving around. The bird is already in avela. And therefore, even if someone were to shecht it, it would still be tameh treifa. Nevela is an animal that didn't have a good shchita. The examples that Kim gave before, a bird whose lungs are collapsed or whose head is torn off. Treifa is that there was a shchita, but there's a problem in the animal. So, it has a hole in the lung. It's one of the 24 simane treifa. So here we're saying that if the spinal cord of a bird is broken, and with it most of the meat next to it, then it's already a nevela. Yeah, question. That's right, makes tumah. Amar Rav Chisda said, Afana nami tznina. We also learned this in a Mishnah. So why do we need Zeiri to tell us this? The Mishnah says, Malak Pesakin, if the Kohen, instead of using his thumb, then the bird becomes nevela, and were someone to eat from it, when swallowing it, he would become tameh, and his clothing would become tameh. If you're going to tell me treifa havya, if you're going to tell me it's a treifa, it's not a nevela, malikasa. In this case, where he does malika with a knife, so malikasa zui shchitasa. It should be a shchita. Because what happens? Once he severed the spinal cord, it only became a treifa. And he severs the pipes. When he severs the pipes, it's now something which had a shchita, which is treifa, not an avela. So tahani le sakim atara midei nevela. So this knife should have worked to take away the tomas nevela. It should be just a treifa. And from the fact that the Mishnah says no, that the bird is nevelas of tahar, it is a nevela. You see that severing the spinal cord makes it automatically into an nevela. So it's not such a proof. Amri, they said we still needed zeiri because of a knife from the back of the neck through to the front is not considered an act of shchita. That's not considered an act of shchita. Since that's not an act of shchita, therefore it makes the bird into an avela. However, if the bird's spinal cord was severed, maybe it's still an animal, maybe it's not an avela yet, it's still a living creature. And then if he did a shchita from the front, at least it would take away the din of nevela, and it would be a treifa and not an avela. So the Gemara explains further. Shchita. Rav Huna said, because it'll then turn out by the time the knife gets to the pipes, to the esophagus, and then the trachea, it's covered. It's covered because when the knife goes through the spinal cord doesn't separate. So on the contrary, it keeps the knife covered. So the knife's going to be covered. It's chalada. And Rav Amar Mipnei Shu Dores. Rava said because if you're coming with the knife from the back through the spinal cord to the pipes, it's not going to be the act of back and forth. It's going to be the act of pushing through, of pressing all the way through, and that's not a good shchita.
Push through to not sever the spinal cord.
No, he does sever it. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the law of Malika.
Okay.
But with a knife it wouldn't work. Yeah, the earliest time for talis and tefillin today is 6:19. So Madamar, the opinion who said Mipnei Shu Machlid, that the knife is covered. My time Lo Mipnei Shu Dores. Why didn't he say that it's based on the fact that the knife is pressing through? Kasavar, he holds Molachumevi b'malika kasher, that when you do malika with your fingernail, you can go back and forth. So when the Mishnah says it was a malika with a knife, it doesn't have to mean it was pressed through. It could also be back and forth. In the opinion that said Mipnei Shu Doris, the reason why with the knife it wouldn't be good, because it's drisa, because it's pressing through. My time alo Mipnei Shu Machlid. Why did he say it's because it's halada? Amalach, he'll tell you halada echidami. What is the disqualification of halada? Kachulda dara bikareya. It's fully covered. But when you're coming with a knife from the back through to the front, so it's true that the knife is covered, hamiglaya, but the knife is still covered. The knife is not, still uncovered, I mean. The knife is not fully covered. The knife is still somewhat covered. Since the knife is still covered, still somewhat uncovered, it is not the problem of chalata. So Amar Rava said, Ikashli, if I have a problem with what Zeiri said, Hakashli, this is my problem on Zeiri. He said that again, remember Zeiri said, Nishbra mafrakas robasar ima nevela. If the spine breaks with most of the flesh, it becomes a nevela. But as Kim pointed out, but in Malika, that's what happens. First, he comes with the thumb, he breaks the spine, and then he cuts it's already dead, it's already a nevela because you broke the spine. So what are you doing more? Cutting further? Abayas said back to Rabbi. Second, ask this question about an olas ofer. You have to sever both pipes. So once you sever the first pipe, of course it's dead. So you're going to say, what's the point? You're killing something which is already dead. So Rava said back to Abaya, maybe really the mitzvah of malika there is just on the first pipe. You have to sever the second pipe in order to be able to case that the reason why you're severing the second pipe is just to flick off the head. Or nami, you should have to go through the skin too. And we don't have to go through the skin. So the Gemara says, maybe not. Alright, Bezrat Hashem will continue at this point tomorrow. We'll stop here.
How do we do
Rabbi Yechanan ben Akash, Ratzak HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakos Yisrael, Afi Chachim L'Am Torah Mitzvah Shneim Adon Chavetz Aman Tzedeko Yagdil Torah V'Yad Tir.